Would you rather inherit $1,000,000 or $800,000? I know that sounds crazy, but the answer might be 800,000 because it just depends on what type of account you're inheriting. So we're going to look today at the difference between inheriting a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA, what the tax implications are, and also really the point of this is to get you thinking about what you want to leave to your beneficiaries if that's something you're interested in. So let's jump in. Okay, so let's start with a situation where you inherit $1 million, and let's do a married couple, and you inherit $1 million in a traditional IRA, and your normal retirement income fills up the 12% bracket. Okay, so that's your normal retirement income. You fill that up. The 22, is up here, but you try to avoid that. Well, now you inherit the $1 million, and you are going to add 100,000 roughly to your income. Now, I'm doing this really simply, but you have a maximum of 10 years if you are a non-spouse, unless a bunch of little exceptions apply that really don't apply to very many people. Now, probably wouldn't be a good idea to pull it all out and, have $1 million taxable income that year because you're going to hit the 37% tax bracket. But if we pull 100,000 out, all that is getting taxed at 22%. And you're going to do that each and every year on top of your normal income that you had before you inherited the traditional IRA. So if we assume that traditional IRA just got no growth, which I hope it would continue to get growth, then we can basically assume that you're going to pay $220,000 in taxes, and that's assuming that none of this income affects this income. But it could, because maybe down here, maybe Social Security was only getting taxed at 70% or 65% of Social Security was taxable. But then when you add all this up here, the RMD, now it gets up to that 85%. So now not only are you adding, I'm going to move that up there to make the illustration make sense. So now not only are you adding the $100,000 distribution, you're also adding the extra income from Social Security potentially. Not to mention any capital gains are now going to be taxed at the 15% rate, whereas capital gains somewhere roughly under the 12% bracket. It's a very similar number. Capital gains are taxed at 0%. So these RMDs, while on the surface, they seem like, not that big of a deal, tax at 22%. And by the way, you're still going to be fine, right? You still inherited $1 million and paid tax on 22% of it at the federal level. You're going to be okay, but that did have kind of a cascading effect on your retirement. Let's compare that to, if you inherit a Roth IRA. Now, apples to apples, we can't assume inheriting a Roth IRA, $1 million in a Roth, because inheriting $1 million in a Roth is clearly better than inheriting $1 million in a traditional IRA. So we're going to assume that you inherit $880,000 in a Roth. And now, how does that affect your taxes? Well, I'm drawing all this out just to make a big show of it. But the truth is, you still only have 10 years. But when you pull out $88,000 a year, that comes out tax free. So you still have to pull it out within 10 years, but now it's not getting added up here like the traditional IRA was. So that's the advantage of the Roth. Next question might be, what if it grows? So scenario one, we started with $1 million. Now I'm going to simplify everything, okay? I'm not going to do timing, and I'm just going to assume, hey, we pull out $1 million, or we inherit $1 million in a traditional IRA, and it doubles over 10 years. But then we had taxes come out of that, and let's assume 22% taxes. So it doubles to $2 million, and now times a 22% tax rate. That is $1,560,000 after 10 years net. Okay. Scenario 2, remember we only started with 880,000. It doubles, which gets us to 1,760,000 times what tax rate? 0% still. So we still have 1,760,000 net. Now, if I just reverse the math and change the math up a little bit, what would we have to inherit to make these two equal? We would have to inherit $780,000 right off the bat, which would double to 1.56. So this was a very basic version. This is not what would actually happen to you if you inherited $1 million, but I hope it gave you an idea of what the tax implications are and really just got you thinking about how it might affect your beneficiaries between inheriting a traditional or a Roth IRA. And by the way, if your retirement plan doesn't include leaving anything to your kids, I think that's great. I would love for you to spend all of your money on you or give it to them over time instead of when you pass away. But hey, if you're going to leave something, just be aware of how it's going to affect them and be smart about it. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe for more tax planning content, and until next time, have a great day.